Something is brewing in silence. Former agents, official reports, and billionaires know it. 2027 is not just another date. The population is being conditioned to accept a new reality without questioning it. Stay until the end to understand how we are being shaped without noticing it. Asterisk, what's happening is not a coincidence. For years, small cracks in the official narrative began to spread, and now it's impossible to hide them. The machinery of silence, the one that for decades denied, ridiculed, and diverted attention, has begun to give way. Not because it has chosen truth, but because something bigger is coming, something it can no longer contain. Those at the top know it. They've had the time, resources, and data to anticipate it. We haven't. We've only been left with the echo of what they never said. Asterisk, since 2017, the clock started ticking. The sudden declassification of files, official reports on unidentified aerial phenomena, statements from trained pilots encountering impossible objects, all of that is not an honest disclosure. It's a strategy, a gradual introduction, a forced adaptation process. Because if something is planned for 2027, as internal leaks suggest, then every move prior has been part of a silent preparation. Asterisk, this isn't just about lights in the sky. It's about control, about information administered with surgical precision. While the average person struggles to survive routine, anxiety, and the pressure to produce and perform, in another layer of power bunkers are being built. Fortified silos, self-sufficient retreats for the elite. It's not paranoia, it's strategy. It's not conspiracy. It's prevention, but not for everyone. Only for them. Asterisk, while you pay with your time, with your mental health, with your disconnection from what matters, others are burying millions underground. Peter Thiel, Elon Musk, Jeff Bezos, Zuckerberg. They're not playing. They're protecting themselves from something, and they're not doing it secretly out of shame. They're doing it because they have no intention of warning you. They're not worried about you. They're worried about their survival. Asterisk, leaked documents show that for decades, there has been constant monitoring of nuclear facilities. Objects that don't obey known laws of physics appear repeatedly over military bases, disabling systems, altering technology. And there isn't a country that hasn't seen them. India, Pakistan, the United Kingdom, France, the United States. They all know. They all stay silent, because what's happening doesn't recognize borders. It challenges the very idea of sovereignty. Asterisk, the question is not what's happening out there. The harshest reality is what's happening inside the system. A system that infantilizes, that doses truth as if we were incapable of handling it. A system that manages fear as a tool of control, and that now, as time runs out, decides to prepare the population, not to liberate it, but to contain it. Asterisk, this entire theater of gradual revelations is nothing more than a conditioning campaign, a psychological experiment on a global scale where what matters is not the information, but the way it is administered. The normalization of the absurd began years ago, when they accustomed us to seeing on the news what used to be a joke. They did it without giving answers, without closing any story. They simply dropped the pieces and let people exhaust themselves trying to assemble them alone. And that's how a new form of control was born. Sustained confusion. Asterisk, because the truth isn't in what they show. The truth lies in what they hide while you're watching. In censored reports, redacted documents, official videos where half the explanations have been removed. Why show evidence if you won't explain it? Why release files if you erase their meaning? Because the goal was never to inform. The goal is to make you adapt to the idea that something extraordinary is happening, without realizing how it's reshaping everything you believe. Asterisk, 2027 is not a random date. It's a finishing line only a few know in detail. A silent countdown while the world remains trapped in the race to produce more, perform more, surrender more. We are not facing an external threat. We are facing an emotional engineering designed to mold a population that is obedient, resigned, and incapable of questioning the narrative assigned to it. Asterisk, when a former CIA agent like John Ramirez says that if things continue as they are, contact will trigger massive panic, he's not warning the public. He's warning those who refuse to follow the script. Because if panic spreads, it won't be because of the contact itself, but because of the collapse of all the narratives built to keep us in order. Religion, official science, history, the concept of humanity, everything would be on the brink of collapse. That's why the problem isn't whether there is life out there. The problem is that such life doesn't fit within the system's limits. Meanwhile, the most powerful people on the planet act consistently. They prepare their escape routes. They're not betting on collective transformation. They're betting on personal survival. And they do it because they already know what's coming. They have access to information the rest of us will never receive in time. While you wait for answers, they've ensured they never have to give them. This transition is designed to free anyone. It's designed to preserve the same model, just with new rules. And those rules are not floating in the air, they're being built in silence, underground, in armored vaults, in retreats that will never be accessible to the majority. The so-called preparation does not include everyone. It's not a collective awakening, but an exclusive plan of those who have always been on top. From their luxury shelters, the elite trains to stay safe while the rest falls. They call it foresight, but it's abandonment. They've built bunkers with advanced technology, internal crops, autonomous energy, and private security. They're not trying to avoid the disaster, only to survive it without facing its social or moral consequences. Kansas, New Zealand, Hawaii, Texas, these are not tourist destinations. They are strategic territories where structures are being built to withstand what's coming. Zuckerberg, Bezos, Thiel, Musk, they don't believe in fairy tales. They prepare because they know the real scale of what approaches, and they have no intention of sharing it. Meanwhile, governments change tactics. They no longer deny, but they also don't explain. They release files, publish videos, repeat the same data. UAPs violating airspace, objects over nuclear facilities, interference with military technology. The narrative becomes cyclical. They repeat the mystery until you stop questioning it. But the essential remains hidden. This is not new. It has been happening for decades. And it belongs to no nation. Malmstrom, 1967. Bentwaters, 1980. The evidence keeps multiplying. Leaked recordings, accumulating reports, matching testimonies. Fear is no longer denied, it's administered. It becomes a shaping tool. They train you to live with the inexplicable without demanding answers, because this is not disclosure. It's conditioning. If you accept that something unknown can bypass the most advanced defenses on the planet without consequences, then you accept that you have no power. And if you have no power, you cannot decide how to react. They're not preparing the population for the truth. They're training it to obey a useful version of it, one that doesn't interrupt productivity or order. That's why information comes in drops, not to clarify, but to make you adapt without noticing. 2027 is no longer just a date. It's a warning, the threshold towards something they refuse to name, a point of no return, not because they chose to reveal the truth, but because they need to install a new model of control at the intersection of uncertainty and submission. What's coming will not be announced, it will be imposed. But we can still see what others prefer to ignore. Don't forget to subscribe, turn on notifications, like the video, and comment if this message resonated with you. See you in the next one.